In the past few weeks, a wave of information about various Spider-Man related projects, including Tom Holland's fourth film and plans to bring back Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire in their iconic suits, has unexpectedly dominated the media. The buzz isn't just about casting rumors or character appearances. A slew of wild plot setups have been leaked all over social media. When one person speaks, there might be doubt, but when multiple voices share the same perspective, it seems too unusual to ignore. In this video, we'll delve into the hot developments surrounding the Spider-Man film adaptations that Sony Pictures is currently working on. What's really happening? Is the mastermind behind Morbius now set to wreck the Spider-Man franchise, or could there be an unexpected turnaround? Let's not waste any more time and dive straight into the video. A few months ago, fans were bewildered by rumors that Sony and Marvel Studios were at odds over the release strategy for the fourth Spider-Man film starring Tom Holland. Timing-wise, Sony is in a rush, pushing out Madame Web, Kraven the Hunter, and the Venom sequel rapidly, even as other superhero studios proceed with caution. The MCU is all in for Deadpool and Wolverine, while James Gunn's DCU has been on hold for over a year, preparing for a reboot with the Gods and Monsters saga. Initially, both parties agreed that Spider-Man 4 would be released before the events of the fifth Avengers film. However, Sony now wants to expedite this to 2025, putting immense pressure on Kevin Feige, who is already busy with the production of 4 major projects: Captain America, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and Blade. If they add Spider-Man, Sony Pictures fully understands that Kevin Feige won't be able to ensure the quality of the final product. However, the company seems to ignore the workload at the MCU excuse, and there are clear conflicts between the programming and approach of the two sides regarding Spider-Man. From Marvel's perspective, the ending of No Way Home and the setup in the Spotlight branch are paving the way for Peter Parker to continue his journey as the friendly neighborhood hero. The story will scale down to street-level adventures, providing an opportunity to delve into the young Avenger's inner turmoil as he rises from immense losses. The creative team plans for events to occur alongside Daredevil, Born Again, with an interesting appearance from Ant-Man to maintain connections to the broader multiverse saga, contrasting Kevin Feige's reasonable and fan-pleasing direction. Sony Pictures wants to keep exploiting their golden goose by weaving a multiverse story that brings back both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, aiming for future brand expansions. Most importantly, this project would legitimize Tom Holland's existence in the Venom universe. Sony Pictures' ambition to intertwine with the teenage Spidey is no secret. This might have been the original script that convinced Dakota Johnson to sign on, and its 180-degree shift directly contributed to Madame Web's failure. Cut concept art revealed scenes of Spidey, in Tom's suit, fighting villains in the film, indicating that the initial vision for Madame Web was entirely different. Kevin Feige successfully convinced Sony to back down and open the door for a proper trilogy that embraces the friendly neighborhood identity. To be fair, it wasn't so much persuasion as it was the underperformance of Madame Web that forced Sony's hand. It's essential to note that fans could already predict how the symbiote left by Tom Hardy in the MCU would impact Tom Holland's Spidey without needing any rumors. The only thing is that Secret Wars is the focal point of the multiverse, making it difficult to adapt a storyline as significant as the darkening of Spider-Man before Avengers 5. Despite Tom Holland, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Pedro Pascal being slated to play key roles in the multiverse battle, based on Sony's concession and the events at the end of No Way Home, it's safe to assume that Tom Holland's fourth Spider-Man adventure will revolve around New York City, where Kingpin is gearing up for a mayoral campaign and a crackdown on vigilantes. In addition to evading the crackdown on outlaws, Peter will inevitably struggle with the consequences of the spell that made everyone forget his identity. With no support system, he faces the pressures of living in an expensive city like everyone else. According to some less prominent Marvel movie leakers, there is a possibility that Tom Holland's Spider-Man might die. However, this wouldn't be surprising as it wouldn't be the first time the MCU has brought Spider-Man back from the dead. If you've played Marvel's Spider-Man 2, you're familiar with how the symbiote easily resurrects Spider-Man after Kraven delivers a fatal blow. Thus, the leftover symbiote fragment at the end of No Way Home could serve a purpose. It might save Tom's Spider-Man. The symbiote storyline is truly captivating, so much so that Sony planned to make it the core of No Way Home. The two veteran Spider-Men hadn't signed contracts to return. However, this dark phase comes with an intense psychological burden for Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire delivered a solid performance, but it would be an extraordinary challenge for Tom Holland, who was often being doubted about his acting abilities. Lastly, a rumor from leaker Alex Perez that should be taken with a grain of salt is that Green Goblin and Doc Ock might return as final antagonists in Tom Holland's Spider-Man era. It's unclear whether Kevin Feige will recast these roles, but considering Tom Holland's Spider-Man is still quite young, Marvel Studios has two plausible paths for his conclusion: a reboot following some multiverse event, likely after the multiverse saga, or Tom's Spider-Man sacrificing himself, leaving a legacy for successors like Miles Morales. Retirement and passing the torch seems illogical for a hero who's just begun his journey. The Last Dance has been confirmed as the final Venom project with Tom Hardy and the symbiote. You can check out my analysis of the first trailer on my channel. However, both Sony and Kevin Feige are open to the future of this duo, potentially even having Venom appear in Avengers: Secret Wars. The good news here implies a new approach where Tom Hardy's Venom might not get another solo film, but will play a significant role across various projects in Sony's Spider-Man universe. To illustrate, Tom Hardy's role would be similar to Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner since the Avengers 2012, an important character throughout the saga, appearing in major events without having a solo project. Returning to the unfinished business mentioned with Madame Web, why do we say that Madame Web has been somewhat ruined by Sony's obsession with Spider-Man? The answer becomes clearer with the recent leaks about the potential plot of Venom: The Last Dance. The internet has exploded with numerous rumors that align on the main setup of the third Venom movie through the infamous hive mind of the symbiote. Venom learns about Peter Parker and the inevitable fate of both Venom and Eddie Brock being ended by Spider-Man. Essentially, it's a How I Met My Spider-Man story, but the Peter Parker introduced in The Last Dance is a 10-year-old kid. No one in their right mind would sit and wait for death, so Venom plans to preemptively eliminate the young Peter to prevent this future. This ruthless action forces Eddie to intervene, showing that the future can change if Venom proves he isn't the negative force that needs to be eradicated. Similar to the previous films, the upcoming installment will introduce a slew of symbiote villains, with Toxin and Scream among them. The host for Toxin is almost certainly Detective Patrick Mulligan of the San Francisco Police Department, a setup hinted at in Venom: Let There Be Carnage. Even more shocking than Venom sparing Peter Parker is the possibility that Toxin will be responsible for Peter being bitten by a strange spider, a key event in creating Spider-Man. This scenario is like Venom knowing that Spider-Man will kill him in the future, so this Venom actively creates Spider-Man to fulfill destiny, or, more bizarrely, to prove that he is an anti-hero, a morally gray character who doesn't deserve to be killed. According to a video shared by 3 Films, Sony recently conducted a survey related to The Last Dance. Because the studio chose less reliable participants, much of the plot was leaked. The storyline has a Terminator-like vibe, with concept art depicting a battle between Ezekiel Sims and Tom Holland's Spider-Man. The more we read, the more the rumors about the actual script for Madame Web seem validated. In this storyline, Ezekiel Sims travels back in time to eliminate the newborn Peter Parker, forcing a future Spider-Man in a suit resembling Tom Holland's to do the same to prevent the timeline from being altered. This detail suggests that Madame Web is either a prequel to the MCU's Spider-Man or some force multiverse connection. Overall, this only complicates things, culminating in Madame Web's failure with a patchwork script, while the Terminator-like resources were transferred to The Last Dance. Should Sony have their own Spider-Man? As recently confirmed by Tom Hardy in Forbes, this would shift the focus to developing a standalone cinematic universe, waiting for this new Peter Parker to grow up rather than fixating on Tom Holland's Spider-Man. This approach clearly has potential, allowing the studio to concentrate on world building and creating a solid foundation for a universe filled with villains ready to face Spider-Man in the future. Additionally, they can continue generating revenue by developing standalone Spider-Man-related films without being tied to the MCU, with plans to repair the SSU following the disasters of Morbius and Madame Web. Rumors about Sony Pictures planning to bring both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire back to swing across the skyscrapers of New York City don't come as much of a shock. Previously, the studio tried to bring back the two veteran Spider-Men in Morbius, but only received refusals. As a result, Morbius was filled with Easter eggs referencing both Tobey and Andrew, serving more as promotional material rather than adding any real value to the storyline. Then No Way Home arrived, changing everyone's perspective and paving the way for the iconic Spider-Man to return. Sony understands audience preferences, knowing that announcements for The Amazing Spider-Man 3 or Spider-Man 4 would automatically become highly anticipated projects, regardless of any other blockbuster releases in that year. For Tobey Maguire, the world has spent its youth waiting for a follow-up to the fourth film. Everyone is eager to see if Mary Jane has at least learned how to bake. If Sam Raimi's saga is revived, there's no need to worry about the content being adapted because its script has gone viral on the internet for years. Andrew Garfield, on the other hand, was initially approached by Sony with the idea of a spin-off focusing on the Sinister Six, which was hinted at in the post-credit scene of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. However, to continue his journey, Sony will almost certainly explore a symbiote storyline. In No Way Home, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man saves MJ, but he still regrets never having fought an alien. With the Sinister Six and the need for a symbiote, it would be incredibly convenient if the Venom universe were the reality where Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man resides. This dream scenario would solve many problems for Sony, such as simplifying the creative process. However, rumors are just rumors. Whether Sony can release The Amazing Spider-Man 3 depends on Marvel Studios, especially as they continue to maximize Tom Holland's Spider-Man on the big screen. Following the hints about the epic return of the Spider-Man duo, leaker Mitomito Shinehelo shared even more shocking plot details, claiming that the spell causing everyone to forget Peter Parker on Earth 616 also affects Andrew and Tobey's universes. This troublesome scenario is quite far-fetched and unlikely to happen. At 60, Nicolas Cage officially becomes the oldest actor to portray Spider-Man in a live-action role, with nearly a 33-year age gap from Tom Holland. Ghost Rider previously voiced Spider-Man Noir in Into the Spider-Verse, and now Faye has brought Nicolas Cage into an upcoming MGM Studios project. According to a brief report on the adaptation, the series will follow a reclusive detective who is the city's only hero, despite facing the harsh realities of time. Not only is his body aging and weak, but his luck has also run out, just as ghosts from his past come knocking. The movie has been confirmed by Sony and is titled Spider-Man Noir. However, instead of eagerly discussing the storyline, most of the community has been busy mocking this amateurish move by Sony Pictures. Specifically, during the platform introduction picture segment, the studio presented a series of Marvel character spin-off projects. Strangely, it seems Sony was too stingy to hire a designer to create a proper logo, so they hastily used a title from a piece of fan art. Luckily, this dark project is being helmed by Amazon Prime, the same studio that produced the excellent series The Boys. Otherwise, it would have been a major red flag from the start. That wraps up the latest information and rumors about the upcoming Spider-Man projects. I hope you all enjoyed and will support future content. Thank you for watching the entire video, and see you next time.